Hi, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dawg Records, and I think it's time for a little levity. We get a little levity in the vinyl community sometimes. We got some great channels like the Reverend Rockin' and Rollin' and his church, and Pinge and Derek, and I think they're really the highlights these days of the vinyl community. I think maybe people are getting a little too serious in the vinyl community lately. A lot of them, I think it kind of started with this whole mobile fidelity controversy and everything. You know, come on people, enjoy the music. People are overthinking everything these days. We've got so much going on in the world around us. The VC is here for us to have fun and share our love of music. So, with that note, I thought I would maybe start doing something I've done a little bit of in the past, but I'm going to give it a title now and call it a random record pull. And, you know, they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And of course, we know Mazzy has made famous the whack-a-mole, where he pulls records and then talks about whatever he pulls without looking at them and all that beforehand and all that sort of stuff. And that's fun. I've done a few like that myself because I enjoy these. So but I don't think Mazzy really invented that. People have done things along those lines all along. It's show and tell, just like when we were in kindergarten, people show and tell. You know, one of the things is, where do you put all your records? You know, you've got so many records. Everybody's faced with that dilemma. Well, some people sell a bunch of them. They cull them out and then they sell them on Discogs or wherever. I sell some at a antique shop and that sort of thing. But where do you store all these records we pick up? Well, I use the good old Lowe's store utility cabinet shelves, utility shelves is what I use down here in my basement. My basement is a pretty small place. But I've got my records arranged in by genre, very loosely by genre. People say, how do you do that? How do you decide what goes where? That's very difficult. No, it's not. The key is to keep it simple. Just pick a place. That'll work. Just don't overthink it, folks. Just stick it somewhere. And don't put part of their records over in one section and part in the other. Just stick to one place, even though they cross genres and things like that. But anyway, I've assigned each of my locations a descriptive number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly pull 5 of these. Then I'm going to go pull, without looking, one of these records from that location, put it back in the Beatles bag, bring it back without looking at it as best I can, and bring it back, and then I will show you the 5 I pulled and try to see if I can tell you a little bit about it. So I'm just going to reach in here and Rhythm and Blues Soul shelf number 1. Okay. Classic Country number 2. Oh, there's 2 there. Let's see what this is. Rock and Pop number 3. 2 more. Acoustic number 2. And 1 more. Acoustic number 3. Alright, I got 2 of them here, and the other 3 are from the tables behind me, so you'll see me pull those, but those are in the other room. I got Country from 2, 1, 2. Right there. I got acoustic from 2 and acoustic from 3. 2, 3. Okay, so now I've got 5 albums pulled. Let's see what I've got in here. I actually could kind of see one of them, the one from the Rock Pop. It's kind of hard to ignore which one that was, so I've had time to think a little bit about what I'd say about that one, but who knows. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Alright, first from Rock and Pop. Everybody knows this one. People say that. Everybody knows this one. Everybody knows that one. I don't know if everybody knows it or not. People that listen to the Grateful Dead know it, I guess. Grateful Dead, Europe 72, one of my favorite Grateful Dead albums. And I didn't have I had a CD copy, and I wanted a vinyl copy several years ago. And this one came out very good. And I see I paid $50 for this. Bought it from the guy who at a record show, the guy who has a warehouse, the flipper that has a warehouse at records. I bought a bunch of records from him, but I made the mistake of calling him up before the record show and say, "Hey, you gonna be at the record show in Raleigh?" "Yep, gonna be there." I said, "Well, I'm looking for Europe 72 and Steal Your Face. I don't have those, and if you got any of those, let me know. Bring them to the show. I want them." So I got there, and I had about $100 to spend, and this is on the Warner Brothers Burbank. Nothing fancy to show you here. Had about $100 to spend, maybe 120 at the record show, and I got there, and he said, I had the records you wanted, and sure enough, he had like 3 copies of this, and 2 or 3 copies of Steal Your Face. And the Steal Your Faces were like, you know, $35 or $40 or $50, you know, 2 or 3 different prices. And the Europe 72 was, I ended up paying $50 for it. And so I almost spent all my money on the 2 records. I hadn't planned on spending that much. I was hoping I could get, you know, them cheaper than that. But doggone it, I called them. I told them to bring them. I kind of committed myself to them. I got them, and I'm glad I did. But since then, I found a couple other copies. Now, this is one that's been repressed a lot. This is a repress, but a distant repress. Love this album. But I don't, if you just collected Grateful Dead music, you'd spend all your money on, I mean, if you bought everything Grateful Dead had, you'd spend all your money on Grateful Dead. So I've kind of stopped buying much Grateful Dead because I've got all the studio albums, and I've got the live albums that the record label put out, but I haven't gotten you know, a lot of the, you know, Dick's Picks and things like that, just because you just can't, it's never ending. Okay, and from the acoustic, the Nashville Bluegrass Band, and this is from 1986. Idle Time, an excellent bluegrass band. What can I tell you about them? It's on Rounder Records, and Pat Enright and Alan O'Brien. O'Brien on the banjo, Enright on the guitar, Mike Compton on the mandolin, Mike Humby on the bass, and Stuart Duncan on the fiddle. An excellent bluegrass band based out of Nashville, Tennessee. Top-notch performers there. And let's see. Alright. From, I guess I got this from the Classic Country. I could have put this in the acoustic, I'm not sure. The Whites. And This is their greatest hits on Curb Records. Curb Records wasn't the greatest record label to be on if you wanted to get plenty of promotion and easy distribution. But I mean, they were there. The Whites had some commercial country hits in the 80s. They are an excellent band, a traditional type band. Buck plays the mandolin and piano, and his two daughters, the White girls often referred to, they did backup vocals or harmony vocals with a bunch of artists through the years, and Ricky Skaggs produced this album, or a lot of the songs on this album, and Sharon, I believe, is Ricky Skaggs' wife. Cheryl and Sharon, maybe, I believe, are the two names. But the Whites, really good music from the Whites. There was a time in the 80s when neo-traditional movement, Randy Travis, the Whites, Ricky Skaggs, people like that, and you were getting, for all the country pop, the Nashville sound country pop you were getting on the radio, you were also getting a good cross-section or a good mixture of more traditional based music. Alright, and let's see what else we got. Okay, The Judds, that was from I think the Whites were in acoustic, this was in country. The Judds, Why Not Me, well, their second, they did an EP first and then an album, and of course Naomi and Winona. Winona's still with us. She was singing with Joni Mitchell at Newport this year, and we sadly lost Winona earlier this year as well. Again, another one of those great neo-traditional acts coming up in the 80s. Why Not Me, what a great song. Lots of dobro in there. Who played the dobro with them? Steel and dobro is Sonny Garish on there. But just a very traditional based music from two wonderful singers, mother and daughter. Trying to see what else is on. Mama, He's Crazy was the other hit on this one. Two big hits and some other lesser hits on this particular album. Winona and Naomi Judd, Why Not Me. Okay. And finally, from the R&B, Ike and Tina Turner. And this is Working Together. And what year was this? 1970 on Liberty Records. I don't know what I can tell you about this album, but it's, you know, it's Ike and his. They do the Beatles get back on here, so there is mention of the Beatles in here, besides the bag, and Funkier Than a Mosquito Tweeter. Oh Poopa Do. Proud Mary's on here. Favorite song, Proud Mary, which they, I think, carried to the top of the charts, or top 10 anyway. With their version of Proud Mary, I can at least remember seeing that probably on the Ed Sullivan Show. But Ike and Tina Turner, and Working Together on Liberty Records in 1970. So, there's 5 records. I hope this didn't take too long. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. Remember, folks, be kind to your neighbors, because we're all neighbors, folks.